Charges filed in connection with the storming of that church in St. Paul. Testimony by former President Trump prosecutor Jack Smith. And it's apparently Dan versus the world. Welcome to the final Dan O'Donnell show before the deep freeze. What did I tell you 24 hours ago? Do I know school districts or do I know school districts? It was about the easiest prediction to make. Pretty much every single one is or will be closed. We will dive into a whole ton of big-time stories throughout the Dan O'Donnell show today. And as a reward for sticking with us, the 5 o'clock hour, I promise you, is going to be hilarious. The Dem candidates for governor had a candidate forum last night. And, of course, there were some absolute bangers. When I say bangers, I mean truly insane things that were said. We will get to all of it. Here are the top stories we're following this hour. Parts of the U.S. are bracing for incoming winter storms. They are expected to bring heavy snow throughout the day today. Not to us, though. We're just going to get extreme cold. That is apparently our lot in life, that we're going to miss the fun stuff and only get the stuff that is closed pretty much every single school. If your school is not yet closed, it will be very shortly. The Department of Justice, meanwhile, has filed criminal charges against 3 of the leftist agitators who stormed City's church in St. Paul over the weekend, including this guy who dared Attorney General Pam Bondi to arrest him.
Come and get me, Pam Bondi, you fucking traitorous bitch. All power to the people.
Never gets old. She did come and get him. 2 other protesters, Black Lives Matter leaders, were also charged. Don Lemon, though, notably was not, as a federal magistrate judge blocked the DOJ from issuing charges. More on that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis this afternoon, meeting with ICE agents and discussing the ongoing attacks against them.
We can do a good job of enforcing our immigration laws without the chaos, but it actually requires the cooperation of state and local officials.
Here at home, I'm sure you noticed it is getting colder. Tomorrow, it is going to be positively frigid. Wind chills could hit 40 below as a massive winter storm brings snow and ice across the country. For us, no snow, no ice, just extreme cold. An extreme cold warning, it used to be called a wind chill warning, goes into effect at midnight. And again, pretty much every school is either closed or is going to close. In the 5 o'clock hour, the most entertaining show last night wasn't on TV. It wasn't streaming. It was in Milwaukee, where the Democrat candidates for governor gathered for a candidate forum. Best line of the night comes to us from Sarah Rodriguez, who is white, like really white, really, really white. Yet she still claimed to be a victim and a target of ICE raids.
It is personal to me. My husband is a naturalized citizen from Mexico. I have children and we speak Spanish outside of the house. I am one of those targets. And so I wanted to make sure that people knew I stand with immigrants, I stand with Wisconsinites, and we are not going to take this from those federal agents.
Yeah, lo siento, senora. You are most definitely not a target of ICE raids. We will have all the details, all the sound bites, all the hilarious craziness coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Right now, though, it's time for you to win $1,000 or at least try. It's the Cold Hard Cash Contest. And the word this hour is friend, F-R-I-E-N-D, friend. You have got until 3:55 to go to our website and enter the keyword friend to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 instantly in our cold hard cash contest. The word is friend. Best of luck to you. If you want to join this foray into broadcast competence, 414-799-1130 is our adventknows.com talk and text line. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476, or email the program at any point, dod@iheartmedia.com. Follow us on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show across platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X. We are streaming live on all of them via the Dan O'Cam as well as our YouTube channel. And please do subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Folks, if you went to jsonline.com today, the website for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, you saw a familiar face right at the top of the page. The top story for sometime this afternoon was your humble host talking about a 5-alarm fire going off inside the Republican Party and the conservative movement because of horrific fundraising totals from the campaign of Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice candidate Maria Lazar. The story from Mary Spicuzza. Conservative radio host Dan O'Donnell railed against disappointing fundraising numbers reported last week by State Appeals Court Judge Maria Lazar, the Republican-backed candidate for Wisconsin Supreme Court, who took in 10 times less money than her Democrat-backed opponent. Sometimes fundraising numbers, especially a fundraising discrepancy between two contenders for the same office, is so great that it ignites a 5-alarm fire within political circles, O'Donnell said during his January 14th show on WISN AM 1130. Today's Supreme Court fundraising totals did just that. Lazar reported raising about $200,000, a tenth of the $2 million haul raked in by her opponent, liberal State Appeals Court Judge Chris Taylor. I don't think I need to tell you that is abysmal, but what's amazing is I am thought so highly of by the esteemed Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and yet I cannot even say my own name. O'Donnell said of the stark difference in campaign cash. Now, you have to go down to about paragraph 15, where I say, I think Maria Lazar is an excellent judge and she would be an excellent Supreme Court justice. But unfortunately, you have to get elected before you're able to serve as a Supreme Court justice. I also took issue with the fact that she's putting out a position paper on abortion, which, of course, was attacked in the very same pages of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. A little bit further down, Nathan Conrad, Lazar's campaign spokesperson, pushed back on the conservative radio talker's criticism. We look forward to Dan O'Donnell questioning Chris Taylor on her transition from radical legislator to activist judge, Conrad said. Yes, Dan O'Donnell, who famously goes easy on Chris Taylor. Great soundbite. Great quote. Good job, Nathan. He accused Taylor of planning to legislate far-left policies from the bench, specifically citing her views on abortion and other issues. These positions are tailored for donors, not voters, and we're seeing a surge in fundraising now that the field is set, Conrad said. I'll give him credit. He's got to say something. The idea, though, that I have not been sufficiently anti-Chris Taylor is dishonest at best and truly unhinged crazy at worst. You folks listen to me every day, at least hopefully you do. I always talk about what a disaster Chris Taylor would be. I said she's like Janet Protasewicz, only smart. She's like a smart Protasewicz. Do you know how dangerous that is? Protasewicz is an ideologue. She's going to vote for whatever the Democrats tell her to vote for, but she's an idiot. She is stupid. She is not a smart individual. Chris Taylor is smart. She is politically savvy. She is dangerous, and she is a hardcore radical liberal wine ant. She would be a disaster for this court, and if there's any doubt about who I want to see elected, let me put it to rest right now. For Maria Lazar's campaign spokesman, I obviously want Maria Lazar to win. I draw attention to the fundraising discrepancy to hopefully alleviate it. Folks, this is a 5-alarm fire, and I hope I was setting off a 5-alarm fire. We are going to lose this race. And I think I've quoted somewhere else in this piece saying we're going to lose by 15 or 20 if we don't get our asses in gear and focus on this thing. And that starts with the candidate. She has got to sharpen her elbow. She has got to get in there and she has got to tell everybody and anybody what she is going to fight for and how she is going to fight to stop the most liberal shrew that we could possibly elect to this court. You think Jill Karofsky is bad? You think Rebecca Dallett is bad? Chrissy Taylor would be 5 times worse. Chrissy Taylor actually knows what she's doing politically. And frankly, folks, the only thing that's saving this state from just utter disaster at the hands of this uber left-wing Supreme Court is the fact that they're uber lazy. Do you realize that they have only heard one oral argument in something like the last 3 months? We're going on 3 years now of a liberal Supreme Court. In those 3 years, they have been about the least busy court in recent Wisconsin history. In fact, I can't think of a court that has taken up fewer cases. Do you want to know why that is? Because they're not actually jurists. They are not actually taking up things that would refine Wisconsin's constitution. They're taking up only the big cases that would reshape this state politically. Do you think Chrissy Taylor is going to do more of that, or do you think she's going to do less? Goodbye Act 10. They are going to, and folks, I'm telling you, a big reason that they're not taking up a whole lot of these cases because they know how bad it would look if a couple of weeks before the spring election, they vote to strike down Act 10. They are absolutely going to vote to strike down Act 10. Do you know how I know this? Because I just got forwarded a bill that Democrats are circulating right now that would allow nurses and other public employees to collectively bargain, something that was expressly prohibited by Act 10. In other words, they are acting as though Act 10 is going to be struck down sooner rather than later, and it is. It wouldn't shock me, in fact, if they make another play to try to strike down voter ID. Anything that a Governor Tom Tiffany would do, anything that a Governor Josh Schoeman would do would be immediately struck down by this liberal court. Now, the reason that there isn't a whole lot of fundraising action and there isn't a whole lot of attention on this race is because it's not for control of the court. Maria Lazar would not be the 4th conservative. She would be the 3rd. And I think it's admirable that she stepped in when Justice Rebecca Bradley, I think, saw the way that the political winds were blowing, saw the last 3 state Supreme Court races, all of which were won by the liberal by double digits, including the last 2 for control of the court, and said, look, I don't think there's a scenario in which I could plausibly win re-election. She made a smart calculation by getting out. Even if she did win, she would be in the minority. And she said in her statement this past summer when she said she's not going to run for re-election that that was the biggest reason. But look, let's just be totally honest with you. She didn't think even running as an incumbent, there was a solid enough chance that she was going to win re-election because of all of the money that the left was going to pour into the coffers of Christine Taylor. They know exactly what they're getting. They're getting a political activist. They are getting a left-wing hack. And I'm not saying that Maria Taylor needs to be a right-wing hack, but she needs to do more than say, well, I will stand up for the rule of law. These dull platitudes don't get people out to the ballot box. And folks, if you are listening to the sound of my voice and you think that this race is already lost, it's already over, think again. Stranger things have happened, and I don't know if you noticed, but the left is currently doing its level best to sabotage any chances it has of retaking the House and or the Senate in November by acting as crazy as humanly possible in Minneapolis. People hate that. People intrinsically stand with law and order. People intrinsically stand with law enforcement officers. Who do you think has the support of law enforcement in this race? Lazar has to get that word out there. She has to be talking about what she would do, how she would rule, not in specific cases, but what her judicial philosophy is. In other words, do exactly what it was that the idiot Protasewicz was doing in saying, well, I'm just telling you what my opinion is. I'm just telling you what my belief system is. Oh, BS. You were telling every left winger from here to San Francisco how you were going to rule on every single case that would come before you. Guess what? It worked. Now, look, I'm not stupid. I know that every out-of-state billionaire, in fact, if you take a look at political filings, campaign filings for the Democrat and Republican parties, it's actually shocking how many out-of-state billionaires are giving to the Democrat Party. They claim to hate billionaires. They claim to think billionaires should not exist, but they sure do love the money that people like Reid Hoffman and J.B. Pritzker and George Soros are just dumping into this campaign. But I want to tell you how this game is played by the Journal-Sentinel. Do you think all of a sudden they just discovered how influential and how much of a big deal Dan O'Donnell is? They do their level best to pretend that I don't exist, even when they're taking stories that I broke as exclusives and just never even mentioning where it was that they got them. The most recent example was when the Obama school basketball team jumped a coach from Bayview High School shortly after the two teams played a basketball game on December 16th. Journal-Sentinel reported on this and said, well, there was an earlier report. Yeah, by who? By the guy who reported this exclusively. You would have never known about this if not for me, but they didn't want to give me any credit, so they pretend that I don't exist. But when I can be used to rip on a conservative and to broadcast the message that somehow conservatives are in disarray, that Maria Lazar has no chance of winning this race, look, she's even lost Dan O'Donnell. Then I become this larger-than-life figure who speaks for the entire conservative grassroots movement. It's beyond dishonest, and maybe a younger me wouldn't have quite recognized it, at least as immediately as I did, but I happen to remember shortly after the 2022, or excuse me, it was shortly after, I believe it was one of the... You know what it was? It was right after the state Supreme Court shellacking of 2023. It was the Protasewicz election. I wrote a long, and I mean long piece for the MacIver Institute. It is still up, MacIverInstitute.com. It's very outdated because it was before the reemergence of Trump, when voters in both the Supreme Court race and the midterm elections of 2022 sent a big message that they, no, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think it was right after 2022. You'll have to forgive me, folks. I write and say a whole lot of stuff. In the intervening nearly 4 years, I've said and written a lot of stuff. It was right after 2022. It was right after the Tim Michels defeat, and I wrote a long piece that I think was partially picked up by the Federalist or whatever it was. It was how Republicans can win again. And you know what it was, the Tim Michels loss, because I was writing about abortion. I said, look, we have to accept where the American people are on abortion. And back then, I said, look, the American people clearly just rejected Donald Trump. This was back when a whole lot of people thought there was no chance Trump could ever come back in 2024. And then, of course, Democrats made what just might be the greatest tactical political error of all time in criminally charging him 50,000 times in a transparent effort at preventing him from running for re-election, because they were trying to quite literally put him in a jail cell so he couldn't be out on the campaign trail. The American people obviously saw right through it. But back in November of 2022, there was some questions about whether the American people would ever again embrace President Trump. As a result of that MacIver piece, it sort of went everywhere. It was retweeted a whole lot of times. And editors from the New York Times somehow got wind of it. I think it was because I rewrote it for Federalist. They wanted me to submit a 1,200-word version of that column for the New York Times. So I did. They're going to pay me a lot of money, too. I was actually kind of shocked at how much they pay. I submitted it to the editors. A couple hours later, I get an email back saying, Dan, thanks, but we're just not going to run this. Do you know the reason they gave? Because we think you should have focused only on Republicans getting rid of Trump and embracing abortions for all. I wish I was kidding. They said, we wanted you to focus on no more Trump and we need to embrace abortions. In other words, what they wanted to have was a conservative who wasn't actually arguing conservatism at all. I was actually toying with them. Or toying with the idea of giving them Charlie Sykes's email and saying, hey, here's a guy who you can always count on to if you want Wisconsin and you want a supposed conservative saying consistently liberal things. Have I got a guy for you, New York Times? So they didn't run my piece because what they wanted was a conservative who wanted other conservatives to abandon conservatism and say, yes, the path forward is liberalism. What the Journal Sentinel wants here is the idea that all of you, so what I am, I'm literally nothing except a sort of avatar. I'm sort of a symbol of you. I'm a symbol of the great unwashed conservative Republican voter. They also still believe that everything I say you treat as gospel and you follow me like mindless zombies. My goodness, I wish that was true. What I always tell libs, I say, well, your audience is just brainwashed. I'm like, do you have any idea how much pushback I get from my own audience? I actually love that, by the way. I always tell my audience, I tell everybody who listens, don't just blindly trust what I have to say. Look it up. Do your own research. Literally, make yourself a better thinker. What I want to do is arm you with the facts so you can use that as a springboard to get more knowledgeable about the body politic in the world around you. But liberals don't really see it like that. Now, I'll actually give Mary Spikuza credit. She was the writer of this piece. It was very fair. I was accurately quoted, and there was no issue with like left-wing bias. But the whole reason that this is a story, so what I always talk about is the most insidious and powerful form of bias in media. It is not like, oh, well, they framed this paragraph from a left-wing point of view. No, it's selection bias. It's what they believe is news, and more importantly, what isn't news. A great example of that is tomorrow. What's going on in Washington, D.C. tomorrow? It happens every January. Right, March for Life. That is almost never covered in mainstream outlets. The one time it was in 2019 or 2020? I think it was 2019, where remember the Covington Catholic kids, where they supposedly physically intimidated this elderly Native American protester? Well, the video came out, and rather obviously, the Native American dude was like drumming right in the face of this poor high school kid who was just kind of like trying his best not to burst out laughing in this old fart's face. And what did they call it? The smirk of white supremacy from this kid who was, of course, wearing a Trump hat at the time. That's the only time that the March for Life ever. There are hundreds of thousands of people who go to Washington, D.C. to peacefully assemble. What they're pretending they're doing in Minneapolis, peaceful protest. And they'll just ignore it. Ultimately, who cares what Dan O'Donnell thinks about Maria Lazar's campaign or conservatives' chances of winning? Yes, I mean, obviously, by virtue of my position here and by virtue of my contacts and hopefully by virtue of my reputation within conservative circles as a truth teller, as an investigator, as somebody who is always going to give it to you straight, and as someone who will pepper in a few fart jokes in there to keep it light, you will take me seriously. But why all of a sudden? Why the one thing that I said, the Milwaukee Journal says, oh, we got to run that. Not only that, we've got to make that the top story. It's that because they want to sow division within the ranks. Well, I've got another big one for them. Yesterday, I reported exclusively that there were just 3 small dollar donations to the Wisconsin Republican Party in the second half of 2025. That wasn't totally accurate. I mean, it was, but the state party has multiple accounts and they report to both the FEC and the state. So in their main state account, everything I reported was accurate, but I got a very snotty email from a spokesperson at the Wisconsin GOP, shockingly condescending, which again, probably not the right tack to take with me. Nonetheless, we want to correct the record. There were more donations than 5 to the Wisconsin GOP. Their numbers are still abysmal. You're not going to want to miss this. The Dan O'Donnell Show, back in just 3 minutes.
New resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
Flawless eliminates noticeable carpet stains and stink, while iNet branding web and radio get businesses noticed. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Opposite and the same. Beautiful carpet and luxury vinyl from Flawless get noticed. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell, for my friends at Current Electric, they'd like to thank Southeast Wisconsin for making them the #1 choice in same-day electrical services. Do you know the reason so many people choose Current Electric? It's trust. And it's that simple. People trust the Current Electric electricians that come into their homes and perform same-day electrical service and repairs, and have for over 40 years. Give the superheroes from Current Electric a chance to earn your trust. You won't be sorry. Go to callcurrent.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
In 21st century America, it's hard to know who or what to believe. The bureaucracy embraces its own agenda. The news media vilifies traditional American values. Social media is a sewer of disinformation. News Talk 1130 WISN is the counterpoint to all of it. We believe in intellectual honesty, and we believe that good and decent people are more than capable of processing that honesty and be better off for it. Believe us, because we believe in you. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to have to push it to the 4 o'clock hour. What might be my favorite story of the entire month. I cannot believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth are about to come out of my mouth. Who pinched whose butt at the David Crowley for Governor campaign event this past fall? It is a real story. It really happened. There was an actual police department investigation. The Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office declined to prosecute. Wisconsin right now is Jessica McBride, a frequent fill-in on this very radio show and a great friend of the Dan O'Donnell Show. We love Jessica. She does an excellent job. If you are not following Wisconsin right now on social media, please do so. She does a fantastic, honest to goodness, she has got the exclusive story. She's not going with the names, but she apparently has impeccable sources on this, and I don't doubt it because Jessica does have impeccable sources. A very, I can't. I seriously can't. I've got to suppress my inner 13-year-old. A very prominent businessman sexually harassed by reportedly pinching the derriere of a very prominent Democrat politician in Milwaukee during a David Crowley for governor campaign event. Dems, what is going on here? Say what you will. So I'm sort of in a you-know-whating match with the Maria Lazar campaign as well as the Republican Party of Wisconsin. They're not particularly happy with me. At least we in the GOP don't go around playing grab ass at campaign events, which is allegedly what happened. And now I'm going to be in a tiff with the FCC over playing grab ass being said on a supposedly family-friendly radio show. This is pinching butts. It's what the Dems do. I'm sorry. It's real. And it's... I have no idea who these people are. It's a very prominent businessman. No, I'm not going to speculate. Are you kidding me? I don't want to get grabbed in the butt by somebody's attorney. Jessica, please, at some point during this show, I know you're listening right now, okay? You have got to publish the names. Please, I am begging you, as a colleague, as a friend, I need this. I need the laughs. Our audience, the world needs the laughs. As we are preparing to dig in, to burrow into our homes and not come out until like next Tuesday, we need to know what prominent Dem businessman was grabbing what prominent Dem politician's butt. This might be the greatest blind item I have ever heard. We'll get into more details. Jessica's got a paper trail. The David Crowley campaign has now responded. She has filed an open records request with the Milwaukee Police Department for the police report. And I cannot wait. I am waiting with bated breath to hear this. A fabulous get from Wisconsin right now. Yesterday on the Dan O'Donnell Show, I reported that the Republican Party of Wisconsin took in $1.2 million in the second half of last year, almost all of it coming from one donor, ABC Supply co-founder and one of the richest women in America. I believe the richest self-made woman in this country. We're very proud of Diane Hendricks here in Wisconsin. She gave about $1.2 million, but there were only 3 small dollar donors who gave to the Republican Party of Wisconsin. Well, I got a very angry text from a spokesperson for RPW who said that my reporting was not accurate. It most certainly was accurate, but it wasn't complete. And I will accept that. I will completely own that. I was only going to the main account. There is a segregated account. So the Republican Party of Wisconsin essentially operates 3 accounts. There is the state account, there is the segregated account, and there is the federal account. And all of this is to supposedly take in more money, I guess. Doesn't appear to be working. In the segregated account, that also reports to the Wisconsin Ethics Commission. So you have to report with state regulators and also federal regulators in the Federal Elections Commission, or FEC. That's your federal account. In the state segregated account, there were 16 total donations for $245,000. Now, this spokesperson who I'm not going to name because normally she is actually very, very good, and I do like her a lot. She and I were just getting a little pissy with each other over text, which happens. She knows I love her. And here's the other thing. I love the state party. This is not to say don't give to the party. This is not to say don't give to Maria Lazar. It's to say give more, donate more. I want everybody in this state who is conservative swimming in the same direction, running the same race, fighting the same fight. Because, folks, it is an absolutely existential threat. You don't want Wisconsin turning into Minnesota. You'd better believe the libs will turn Wisconsin into Minnesota the second Governor Deadbeat Barnes is sworn in. And can I even say anything scarier than the possibility of Deadbeat Barnes being the governor of Wisconsin? Probably not. So the spokesperson for the GOP said, Dan, we direct all our small dollar donors to our federal fund. We actually have a whole lot of donations. In fact, there were a couple hundred donations, about 500 or so, totaling $753,000 from January 1st through November 30th of 2025. The final reporting month, December, is released a little later. So for the first 11 months of an off year, no big elections, except, of course, the state Supreme Court one. State party took in $753,000 in its federal account. So I stand corrected. I was wrong. Here's, though, where we still have a major problem. That same state account where Republicans only got 3 small dollar donors, and these were just, apparently the spokesperson for RPW said these were just people who had recurring donations that started in 2023 and they just never stopped. And we direct all of our small dollar donors to the federal account. Okay? $912 from small dollar donors in that account, total of $1.2 million. Remember, all of it almost from Diane Hendricks. Democrats in their state account had 2,209 donations for a total of $1.7 million during that reporting period, the second half of 2026. In their federal account, they raised $8.8 million in individual contributions from January 1st to November 30th. Compare that with Republicans who raised just $753,000. Republican total federal receipts, $2.05 million. Democrats, $12.15 million. So I'm sorry that yesterday I didn't report on the full picture of just how bad this fundraising discrepancy is. I was chided over text. Next time we need to be accurate. Who am I dealing with here? Miss Rachel is the spokesperson for the Republican Party of Wisconsin. We need to be accurate. Let me be as accurate as I possibly can. $12 million in the federal campaign committee's coffers is a whole lot more than $2 million. $8.8 million raised last year. And yes, a whole lot of it was spent on the state Supreme Court race. I'm not sure the Democrat Party has $12 million in cash on hand, and I'm sure they spent the bulk of the $8.8 million they had electing Susan Crawford to the state Supreme Court. But the point is that this is translating into massive Democrat wins. The only 2 Republicans who have won since 2018 are Ron Johnson and Donald Trump. And John Lieber, the state treasurer. That's it. Those are the only ones who have won statewide. We also got a half victory, something of a Pyrrhic victory, in electing Brian Hagedorn in 2019. Admittedly, he would have been a damn sight better than Lisa Neubauer, the now retired appeals court judge, who would have been another leftist hack. So I do consider that a victory, but Hagedorn sides with libs whenever he possibly can. And that has been the hallmark of his tenure on the bench. That's it. Those are the only wins. And a big reason for that is because we are not exploiting the state party loophole like the Democrats have been over the last decade. That loophole says you can donate unlimited amounts of money. You can give as much money as you possibly want to the state party, and the state party or local parties can give unlimited amounts of money to whatever candidates they want. Democratic Party has done a masterful job nationalizing every single Wisconsin election. The former Democrat Party chairman, Ben Wickler, who is now privately contracting with them to fundraise for them. This is why their numbers are still good, even though he has resigned, because they're paying him a ton of money to just fundraise for them. He's got a Rolodex of tons of donors, most of them the billionaires that liberals pretend to hate, something of a paradox there. And he gets them to donate massive amounts of money. Where is the same sort of thing on the Republican side? We were able to do this incredibly effectively when Reince Priebus was in charge of the Wisconsin GOP, when Scott Walker was governor. Unfortunately, that's no longer happening. My producer says we got to go to break 2, and he is absolutely right. We are going to step aside for a break. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back in just a second.
Hey, WISN listeners, it's time to plan the annual Vicki McKenna fishing trip to Lake of the Woods, Ontario. Destination, Ballard's Black Island. Why are we going back? Obvious. It's trophy walleye, muskie, bass, northern. We catch all 4 in a single day. We call that the Grand Slam, and you're invited. Go to blackisland.com and sign up for the Vicki McKenna Canadian fishing trip. This trip goes fast, so get in before the spots are gone. Join me, Vicki McKenna, at blackisland.com, and let's set the hook.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investor Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
I'm Ryan Sigler at Southeast Wisconsin's #1 traveling therapeutic, Smart Tech. Having difficulty paying attention? Disorganized? Make careless mistakes? Are you forgetful or frequently late? You're not ADD. You've got DDID, more commonly known as damaged, defective iPhone display. Cracked, chipped, or otherwise malfunctioning iPhone screens steal from souls ongoing. Getting your iPhone repaired at the mall or waiting in line at your phone service provider to be told they'll mail a replacement after you pay your deductible are hassles you dread, so you live with constant irritation. Just as a frayed shoelace causes frustration, a damaged iPhone screen never stops robbing time and happiness. A new shoelace is an easy upgrade life hack, just like a new iPhone screen is with SmartTech. SmartTech cures DDID in one convenient 20-minute visit to your home or business. SmartTech comes to you, repairs your iPhone screen in just 20 minutes or less, and you feel better. Optic nerves and information reunited. SmartTechPhoneRepair.com. That's SmartTechPhoneRepair.com.
Here's why. I'm Ken. I had pain and numbness in my leg from bulging discs.
Are you a football player or an actor?
No. I was operated on by a seemingly reputable doctor. He operated on the wrong side of my back. While digging around, he did substantial nerve damage. I now have permanent pain and numbness in both legs. A big advertising Wisconsin law firm wasn't interested in my case.
I'm Keith Trower of the Warszewski Personal Injury Firm. After being rejected, Ken turned to us. Doctor and attorney Warner Rice helped to discover that the surgeon operated on the wrong side and misrepresented what he did, billing Ken's health insurance for a procedure that wasn't actually performed. Utilizing unique resources and skills, Warshevsky achieved a $2.9 million settlement by preparing Ken's case to win at trial.
And Warshevsky was instrumental in making sure that shameless doctor won't hurt anyone else. Warshevsky is a great law firm.
Injured? It is about the money. Warshevsky.com. 414-276-4970.
Jay here again for my friends at Semperfi Roofing. The Wisconsin winter's especially hard on the roof of your home. The folks at Semperfi want you to keep an eye out for signs of winter roofing problems. Icicles hanging from your gutters, uneven snowmelt on your roof, or water stains on your ceiling. If you see any of these, don't wait. Call the roofing experts at Semperfi. See, unlike a lot of roofers in the area, Semperfi doesn't shut down during the winter. They know your roof problems can't wait until spring. In fact, they can be at your home within 24 hours and do a free 21-point inspection, diagnose the issue, and recommend a solution. And if it's time for a new roof, their highly trained installation teams will install it perfectly the first time, clean up after themselves, and leave your home and yard nicer than they found it. So if you see signs of winter roofing problems, don't wait. Set up your free no-obligation roof inspection and estimate today. 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm and dry. Semper Fi.
Is it currently snowing in your hallway? Or maybe your upstairs is a sauna while your basement is a skating rink. If your heating and cooling system is confused, call the experts at Capital. We'll replace that old crotchety clunker of a system with a brand new factory fresh heating and cooling system and save you $1,000. That's $1,000 off a total comfort system. Give your home the upgrade it deserves. Capital will turn brrr into ah.
Call CapitalCares.com.
This year, Bayview Shade and Blind is celebrating 100 years of helping our neighbors bring comfort and style to their living spaces. We just want to pause for a moment and say thank you for letting Bayview Shade and Blind be a part of your home, sharing a little sunshine from our family to yours.
The football postseason lives on iHeartRadio. And Denver's going to the AFC Championship game. From the official NFL Podcast Network.
Welcome to NFL Daily.
Fox Sports Radio.
And now you have Denver without Bo Nix and you got Jared Stidham.
Or local stations that bring you the games live. False intercepted, and the Broncos have it at their own 40. This is 24/7 coverage of everything you love about football.
Just open the iHeartRadio app and search NFL to dive in.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Wisconsin Badger basketball.
Down the lane, two-hand, slam dunk. Penn State comes to the Gold Center Thursday night. Coverage starts at 5:30 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and it's time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is that bearded psychopath who stormed the church in St. Paul on Sunday. His name is William Kelly. You remember him.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit as a preacher. Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would die within you. You do not touch me. You touch me again and see what happens. Hey, you can't. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities?
Yeah. He was federally charged today after posting this threat to Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Yesterday, I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong and I protested these white supremacists. A pastor of the church is a fucking ICE leader in the city. How can you be a fucking pastor and be a fucking ICE agent? Fuck them. They want to come after me? Fuck them.
Well, they did, buddy. William Kelly, your unhinged liberal of the day. Daily Trump Date is coming up after the top of the hour. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Northbound on 43 past North Ave, a stall taking out the 2 left lanes. Your delays start before the Marquette interchange. Up in Washington County, police activity continues to close Highway 33 both ways, Wisconsin Street to Indiana Avenue. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Refresh your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Create the perfect bathroom with up to 50% off select vanities during Lowe's Bath Savings Event. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Annex Wealth Management's education continues in 2026 to help you stay informed. Join Annex Wealth Management CEO Dave Spano and Chief Economic Strategist Dr. Brian Jacobson as they review key data points Thursday, January 21st at the Pfister.
2026 is shaping up to be a year like no other. The question is, how will it affect your financial plan? We're looking forward to seeing you navigating the markets 2026 and beyond. That's January 21st at the Pfister with Annex Wealth Management.
Here's something I bet you didn't know. Byrna, the personal defense company responsible for the fabled Byrna launchers, is proudly hand-assembled in the U.S. right in Fort Wayne, Indiana by American workers. Byrna is the world leader in less lethal personal defense, and the newest Byrna Compact is small enough to fit in a pocket or purse, but it fires kinetic or pepper rounds that can disable an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No background checks, no permits, ships right to your door. Visit Byrna.com today to find the right launcher for your family. That's BYRNA.com.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One Collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One Collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One Collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
I'm Thomas Rozecki at Central Office Systems. Implementing technology diligence saves businesses money, making technology profitable.
Chris Rozecki here. Seamlessly reliable technology is a competitive advantage for your business operations.
Flawlessly integrated IT, phone, email, software, data storage, data security backed by Central Office's North American Help Desk is smart business operations.
Central Office IT support answers your employees' calls in 1 minute. If your issue can't be resolved immediately by phone, Central Office dispatches live local technical experts.
Central Office IT Managed Services secure your information, technology, and data. Our camera systems clearly document faces, read license plates, send alerts when movement, heat, or smoke are viewed.
Central Office smart camera systems combine with individual entry access from HID card, key fob, or smartphones limited to certain days or time periods. Secure your property.
Your company can afford Fortune 500 class IT system service and support with Central Office.
Converting IT risk and liability into assets, centralofficesystems.com.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Store, screen and door.
Take a pause.
It's nearly that time of year when you may see more coyotes on the prowl, getting wild as they look for a mate. Wildlife officials say coyote mating season usually runs from late January and into March. Luke Perkins with Colorado Parks and Wildlife says if you see them, don't feed them.
Extended exposure to people and feeding can cause what's called habituation, where they just start to not see humans as threats, which is definitely not good. That's whenever they start coming in closer and closer.
He also says watch out for your pets.
Coyotes are definitely opportunistic hunters when they can be. And so if this is what is going to be an opportunity for them to be able to feed, they will take advantage of that opportunity when they can.
You may be able to protect your small dog with a coyote vest. It's covered with spikes, so biting down on your little dog will not be pleasant. But trying to get a cat to wear a vest? Well, good luck with that. Take pause. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Winter in Wisconsin can be mighty frigid, but we have something that can warm anyone's cockles. Play the nationwide Cold Hard Cash Contest 9 times each weekday on News Talk 1130 WISN. Listen for a keyword, then enter it at newstalk1130.com. If your entry is selected, you win $1,000.
The Cold Hard Cash Contest is presented by Ward Kitchen and Bath in Saukville. They'll help you get rid of that ugly Whirlpool tub, turning your places into amazing spaces. WardKitchenandBath.com.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Maloney. Oscar voters have spoken. They served up a record 16 nominations to sinners and 13 to one battle after another today. At the Capitol, Republican and Democratic lawmakers in the state assembly have come to a consensus on a bill to fund Wisconsin Eye, the state's version of C-SPAN. The Senate will need to agree. WisI has been dark since December after failing to meet funding needs. In business news, the Dow was up nearly 275 points today. The S&P 500 up 32 points, and the NASDAQ was up 185 points. Checking the Holiday Automotive Final Act Sports Scoreboard, the Bucks lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder 122-102 last night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Sean Maloney on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Spotty snow showers are possible this afternoon, otherwise windy with temperatures in the teens. We fall to a low of -14 by Friday morning with wind chills of -35 to -40. An extreme cold warning is in effect through Friday afternoon. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by O'Keefe's Working Hands Hand Cream.
Listen, if rubbing your hands together sounds like this, you need O'Keefe's Working Hands Hand Cream. It instantly relieves extremely dry, cracked hands. O'Keefe's, look for the green package.
The new year means new resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
David Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring, recommending iNet for web development and SEO.
That's all?
And graphic design, photography, and video.
That's more like it, Dave. Flawless installed luxury vinyl at 3 properties I own, including iNet. The 8 separate projects were easy, turned out beautiful, exceptional value, and are extremely durable.
But wait, there's more. iNet's creative genius branding and radio gives Flawless a unique identity, making us stand out. Hiring iNet is casting a net that pulls in customers your business wants and needs.
Clever, Dave. You just might have a future in radio ad writing.
My future is secure in flooring, partially because we cast our iNet 5 years ago.
Having Flawless replace pet stain and stink-saturated carpet is a smell and sight upgrade, making every day more beautiful and less gross. Flawless Flooring, LLC.com.
Having iNet replace underperforming web, radio, and e-marketing enhances business opportunity for profitable growth. iNet-web.com. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Our favorite 4-letter word. Free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, cold tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% on all in-stock models. This weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds.
At Ross Dental, your journey to smiling like you just don't care because you don't isn't paved with anxiety, discomfort, or judgment.
People should be judged by the content of their character, not the straightness, color, or condition of their smile. No matter how much restoration required, Ross Dental's gentle, caring staff won't judge you. Ross Dental does cutting-edge laser dentistry, maximizing patient comfort and health. Laser removal of tooth decay requires 0 shots. For almost everyone, it's painless. Procedures are faster, no numb mouth, 0 shots. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com. Lasers don't churn up infected tissue. They kill bacteria, fungus, even viruses, dramatically reducing infection-spreading bioaerosols old technology drills cause. Laser dentistry is ideal for cavity treatment, and less collateral tissue damage treating gum disease or canker sores speeds up recovery. Ross Dental's convenient payment options, low, even no radiation imagery, and sedation dentistry eliminate every reason to neglect your teeth. Schedule your cleaning or cosmetic assessment today, and soon you'll smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com.
Winter in Wisconsin can be mighty frigid, but we have something that can warm anyone's cockles. Play the nationwide Cold Hard Cash Contest 9 times each weekday on Newstalk 1130 WISN. Listen for a keyword, then enter it at newstalk1130.com. If your entry is selected, you win $1,000.
The Cold Hard Cash Contest is presented by Ward Kitchen and Bath in Saukville. They'll help you get rid of that ugly whirlpool tub, turning your places into amazing spaces. WardKitchenandBath.com.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Folks, we begin the 4 o'clock hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show with the only story that really matters today. No, it's not the bitter cold that's going to get down to 40 below by tomorrow, or all of the school events and classes that are canceled tomorrow. It's not that. It's not the arrests and criminal charges of the leftist radicals who stormed that church in St. Paul over the weekend. It's not that at all. It has nothing to do with President Trump. We will get to the daily Trump date in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest story, the greatest mystery of our time. Who pinched whose rear end at the David Crowley campaign event this past fall? Yes, I am dead serious about this. A very prominent business leader in Milwaukee apparently grabbed the butt of a very prominent Democrat politician at the David Crowley for governor campaign event in, I believe it was October. Our good friend Jessica McBride has the exclusive story. Jessica and I were texting about this earlier today. I said, okay, this cannot possibly be real. She said, oh, it's real. And it's spectacular. You were waiting for that, producer. Producer Eric, I don't think ever actually left the 1990s. So anytime I can drop a Seinfeld reference, he is all about it. She said, it's real. The Milwaukee Police Department investigated. She put in an open records request for the police report. The Milwaukee DA's office declined to prosecute because it apparently amounted to the one rather randy business executive pinched the butt of the politician. And I don't know if they didn't want it to go any further than that. They realized how embarrassing this would be if it got out, if someone like Jessica figured out what happened. Well, she did, and we will dive into this and try to figure it out. I mean, I would say there are some obvious suspects here, but it's a Democrat Party fundraiser. I just assume they're all grabbing each other's butts at all times. I mean, with their obsession with transgender and boys becoming girls and girls becoming boys and, you know, people identifying themselves as whatever pronouns or whatever sexuality they think of in the moment, I just assume these things are akin to hypersexualized orgies at all times. I'm never invited to them. Who's to say I wouldn't like to grab some butts at a Democrat fundraiser? I mean, who wouldn't want to grab some butts at a Democrat fundraiser? You just see me walk in there like I own the place, just goose Chevy Johnson just to show dominance. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I get in even more trouble with the SEC, time for the Daily Trump Date.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I mean, what if it was Chevy Johnson's butt that got grabbed? I don't know. All I'm told is it is a prominent Milwaukee politician, and it is a prominent business leader. The business leader did the grabbing. The politician was the grabby. Beyond that, I don't know. You see, when you're a prominent business leader in Milwaukee, they let you do it. Vice President J.D. Vance was in Ohio today touting the Trump administration's economic wins and agenda heading into this all-important midterm elections cycle. After that, he stopped in Minneapolis to meet with ICE agents and chid left-wing leaders in the state for fomenting violence and chaos.
We have so much federal law enforcement resources here right now. We have so many people here that we do not want to have here. I do not want so many ICE officers in Minneapolis right now. I mean, good Lord, it's really, really freaking cold outside. But they're here not even to enforce immigration laws, but to protect the people from the rioters. That's an absurd state of affairs, and we wouldn't need it if we had a little bit more cooperation from the Minneapolis Police Department. Again, the Minneapolis Police Department, my understanding is that the actual beat cops on the ground, they would love to help out, but they're being told by somebody, I don't know if it's Mayor Frey, they're being told by somebody not to cooperate at all. What kind of a person tells their local police don't protect somebody if they're being assaulted by a rioter? It's crazy, and it's got to stop.
Now, more in just a second on the vice president's remarks and how the media works to promote the lies that are once again causing unrest and insanity in Minneapolis nearly 6 years after George Floyd. Vance gave a great example of why cooperation with local law enforcement and political leaders is so important in Minneapolis.
Let's say, for example, we have a criminal migrant who is a sex offender. And let's say that we've got to go and arrest that person who, Democrat or Republican, wants a sex offender living in their community. I would assume, I would hope that most people don't. But because they're an illegal alien, we don't know their last address. We may have known their address 3 years ago, but we don't know their address now. What we'd like to do is talk to local officials and say, you know what, according to the Medicaid rules, where was the last address this person was domiciled? Or according to a SNAP application, a food stamps application, maybe that could give us insight to where this person is today. Or maybe they had some local court trouble. We could go to the local courthouse or even the local jail and try to find where this criminal sex offender is today. The local authorities have been told, do not cooperate. So these guys are trying to go out and enforce the law. They're trying to arrest sex offenders, but they're trying to do it in an environment where local officials have been told, do not help them, do not provide intelligence about where these sex offenders might be. This is disgraceful.
And it's insane. And it's putting law enforcement agents in harm's way. More on that again in just a second. Earlier today, hotly anticipated testimony from former special counsel Jack Smith, who secured 2 sets of federal charges against President Trump, but now finds himself on the hot seat over potentially illegalities in the way he went about his prosecution.
And Mr. Smith, do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
More on just how Smith very likely broke the law in those prosecutions coming up at about 4:25. Right now, though, the cold hard cash contest word for the 4 o'clock hour is pay. P-A-Y. Pay. You've got until 4:55 to go to our website, enter the keyword pay to enter the contest for this hour, and we will pay you $1,000 if your entry is picked at random. Pay is the word. Best of luck to you. The latest outrage in Minneapolis is ICE arresting a 5-year-old child. Don't dispute me on this. ICE arrested a 5-year-old child. They're monsters. Only they aren't. New York Times 2 hours ago posted the story complete with a picture of ICE taking this screaming boy into custody. It breaks your heart. It really does. And it sort of justifies all of the terrible things being said about ICE agents, doesn't it? Well, it would if it wasn't complete and total bunk. Vice President J.D. Vance was asked about this today, and he gave an absolutely spectacular answer, thoroughly debunking the story out of Minneapolis today of ICE supposedly. Folks, I'm just telling you, you are going to see this all over your Facebook feeds when you're scrolling in bed tonight. Every lefty, this is their new outrage. It's going to be the new talking point probably for the next couple of days. New York Times, everybody is running wild with it. J.D. Vance, in about a minute and a half, thoroughly debunks it.
You know, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, you know, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second, we don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all. But if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
That's exactly what goes on, not just in Minneapolis, but pretty much in every left-wing outrage. It's a very famous saying. It's often attributed to Mark Twain. Ironically, he probably did not originally say it. And that's the truth gets halfway around the world, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put its pants on. That explains so much about where the modern media is today. New York Times could have very easily investigated the 5-year-old arrested story and found that it was complete bunk. The child was taken into protective custody because, well, obviously, when his father tries to run away and the child is left in dangerously cold temperatures in one of the coldest places on earth, you've got to take him into custody. You've got to take him out of the cold. This idea that ICE is just kicking down doors and arresting American citizens is just not true. American citizens are getting arrested by ICE, but it's because they're left-wing radical crazies who are doing left-wing radical crazy things, such as Nakima Armstrong, Chantil Allen, and William Kelly. We've been talking about Mr. Kelly. He's the raspy voiced dude who dared Pam Bondi to come arrest him. Well, she did. He's now criminally charged. Nakima Armstrong is a local activist, and she is one of the leaders of that Storm the St. Paul Church demonstration, which violated federal law. You are not allowed to interfere with someone's religious liberty. You are not allowed to do something that interferes with the free exercise of their religion. It's a violation of federal law, and it was used to prosecute. This exact same statute was used to prosecute several conservative activists who did nothing of this sort, but were merely singing and praying outside of an abortion clinic a few years back during the Biden administration. The Biden administration used this exact same law to prosecute them, saying you are not allowed to block the entrance to abortion clinic. They very famously were not. They were just out there singing. They were like the Who's down in Whoville. They were actually singing, doing nothing more, not even holding hands to block the entrance. They were just singing. But that violated what's known as the FACE Act. So too did this. This actually did disperse a church service because of the violent sounding, insane rhetoric coming especially from William Kelly. Now, notably not charged in this was Don Lemon. A magistrate judge decided that there was not enough evidence that Lemon was organizing this or a part of this, that he was, in fact, as he claimed, just a reporter. He was just covering this protest. That, of course, is nonsense. He was absolutely a part of it. It's all on video. But this is a left-wing magistrate judge who did not want Don Lemon, of all people, to face criminal culpability for his obviously criminal actions. Now, the magistrate judge deciding the merits of a potential prosecution of Don Lemon on what amount to very obviously simply political grounds gives rise to this notion that prosecuting ICE agents in state or local court is somehow, what is it? And you're going to hear in the 5 o'clock hour. And by the way, you're not going to want to miss the 5 o'clock hour. Producer Eric, was I not kidding? These are some banger sound bites, especially for Kelda Helen Roy is talking about her plan for dealing with ICE. Francesca Hong is in there as well. We've got a couple of David Crowleys, and wouldn't you know it, man, Deadbeat Barnes is bringing back an old favorite from the 2022 Senate campaign. Oh, I can't wait to get into this. 5 o'clock hour, we are recapping last night's Democrat candidate forum with a particular emphasis on the biggest story, the biggest political hot button issue, and that is ICE and federal law enforcement more generally. They're all saying we need to hold ICE agents accountable. Now, J.D. Vance, during his Q&A with reporters while visiting ICE agents in Minneapolis, said, well, there's a reason that the federal government typically prosecutes alleged misconduct by federal agents, and that's so there's not a kangaroo court of a judge, jury, and executioner, so to speak, that is already biased against federal agents in, say, Hennepin County, Minnesota. And Vance, again, this is where J.D. Vance truly shines, and that is explaining in plain English what the Trump administration's policies are, and he makes them sound as rational as they are. It is impossible to dispute what he is saying here.
I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. What I did say is that when federal law enforcement officers violate the law, that is typically something that federal officials would look into. We don't want these guys to have kangaroo courts. We want them to actually have real due process, real investigation, because again, sometimes they're accused of wrongdoing, and it turns out when you learn the context, they didn't actually do anything wrong. But of course, we're going to investigate these things. Of course, we're investigating the Renee Good shooting, but we're investigating them in a way that respects people's rights and then ensures that if somebody did something wrong, yes, they're going to face disciplinary action, but we're not going to judge them in the court of public opinion. I've spoken at length on this particular case. I think that Renee Good's death is a tragedy. I also think that she rammed an ICE officer with her car. So So the tragedy here is multi-layered. The tragedy is there was a misunderstanding. The tragedy is that Renee Good lost her life. The tragedy is that you have ICE officers who are going into communities where they're worried that if they call 911, no one's going to come to help them. That is what produces this terrible situation, and it's something state and local officials here in Minnesota could solve.
This is actually a very, very big problem. And Vance said, look, we're not seeing this sort of stuff in blue cities in red states because we're getting the support of state government. We're not seeing this in, say, Nashville, Tennessee, red state, very, very blue city. Austin, Texas, red state, very, very blue city. There have been ICE surges and there have been ongoing operations in Florida, in Texas, in Louisiana, in Tennessee for weeks. And you haven't heard anything about them because they're being done quietly, because they're being done with the cooperation of state and local law enforcement and public officials who understand that they have no authority, none whatsoever, to interfere with federal law enforcement. All right, coming up after the break, we will get into Jack Smith's testimony and could there actually be criminal culpability for him? Stay tuned.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Wauwatosa crash, southbound lanes of Mayfair at North Avenue. 3 right lanes are blocked. Jam southbound 43, Locust to the Marquette, and northbound from the Marquette up to Brown. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible. It's time to take care of you. Who better to help you than the top voices in well-being on Audible? Kickstart your well-being journey with your first audiobook free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com/wellbeing.
Here's why. I'm attorney Keith Trower of Warshevsky. You don't ever want a multi-million-dollar injury. If you're seriously injured and represented by a sign and settle firm, insurance companies are in the driver's seat and your multi-million-dollar injury may be reduced to a multi-thousand-dollar injury.
I'm Ken.
Ken, are you an actor or are you a football player?
No, real person permanently injured by a fraud committing doctor who operated on the wrong side of my back, making pain and numbness far worse and permanent. I had to hire someone else because the first law firm I went to turned me away. That was a lucky day because I hired Warshevsky instead.
Warshevsky's elite investigators, trial attorneys, and legal experts will prepare your case to win at trial from day one.
Insurance companies value your claim based on the quality of your attorney. My $2.9 million settlement proves insurance companies respect and fear Warshevsky at trial.
Injured? It is about the money. Warshevsky.com, 414-276-4970.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty.
We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years.
And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
From the road to the roof, S&K will fix your plumbing problems 24/7. Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com. Conservative thought, not just talk.
Look, we don't do talking points on this show. We don't do bumper sticker sloganeering. We think about the issues and we make the case logically, and that's what I want you to do too. That's why I'm here.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
That is what we do. In fact, what I always say is don't just take my word for it. Honest to goodness, do your own research. I hope that you, ladies and gentlemen, will use what I say, will use the cases that I present to you each day and adapt my arguments, adapt the facts that I bring to the table. But ultimately, the role of being an informed citizenry, the responsibility for that is on you. But I like to think that we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show do a little something in informing you about the goings-on in your state. Welcome back to the program. Today, big testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, by former special counsel Jack Smith. Easily, I think, the best grilling of Smith, getting down to the nub of what it was that he was doing that potentially rises to criminal conduct in his two prosecutions of President Trump. Now, on background here, Smith was unlawfully appointed as special counsel because President Biden essentially didn't go through the proper constitutional establishment of a special counsel. He just sort of snapped his fingers and Jack Smith appeared. The whole point of this was rather obviously, and in fact, in Jake Tapper's book, in which he pretended not to notice that Joe Biden clearly had dementia, he admitted that the only reason that he was running again was that he didn't think he would actually have to campaign for a second straight election. He could just stay in his basement and maybe cut a couple of video interviews with Charlemagne the God, because he thought, and I quote, Donald Trump would be in jail. The strategy all along was to prosecute Trump and to put him in federal prison so that he couldn't campaign. And obviously, the American people wouldn't vote for somebody who is in prison. Well, they secured their convictions. What do they crow about? 34 convictions in New York State. The American people didn't care. What does it tell you about how terrible a political party you are that you can't beat a 34-time felon? It's because everybody knew that these were all sham cases, especially those that were launched by the Biden Justice Department. Neither of the cases against Trump, one related to January 6th, one related to supposedly classified documents that were illegally stored at Mar-a-Lago. Remember, we found out later that there were a whole bunch of documents stored in Joe's garage. A different special counsel determined that no charges would be filed against Biden because, as politely as he possibly could put it, he found that a federal jury would determine that Biden is a, quote, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. That was the special counsel's way of saying, yeah, he's got dementia, and everybody is going to just assume, oh, the guy had no idea that those documents were even in his garage. But nonetheless, Jack Smith got grilled by Congressman Brandon Gill today about making a misleading pleading before the court, if not an outright falsehood, by trying to get one of the bigger scandals to come out of Jack Smith's prosecution was the fact that they wanted, and they actually received, phone logs of Republican Party leaders in the Senate and the House, including Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Well, how exactly did Smith get those? According to Gill, and as backed up by the available evidence, by lying to a court.
How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with
it. Was 16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives, you subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
That, by the way, prohibits this exact sort of thing of members of Congress.
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll
records... You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
What Gil is getting at is that Smith made multiple false statements in order to secure these records. He can't just get them, right? He's got to determine that there is some legitimate interest that the prosecution would have in getting them. There was none. And he's telling a court that the Speaker of the House, the most powerful Republican in Washington, D.C. at the time, was going to skip town? That what? He was going to flee to Barbados to avoid prosecution by Jack Smith? Not only that, Smith was going after and presenting testimony that he knew or reasonably should have known to be false. Harriet Hageman, who is a congresswoman from Wyoming, notable because she beat like a rented mule Liz Cheney in a primary that sent the true rhino. The word rhino gets tossed around quite a bit. Liz Cheney of the January 6th committee was the very definition of a rhino. She's out of the Congress thanks to Harriet Hageman, and Hageman proved today that this is about as big of an upgrade as you could have possibly gotten. Smith was using the testimony of Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson, you might recall, is the former Trump aide who claimed that President Trump tried to grab the wheel of the presidential limo known as the Beast, and that he literally lunged over a Secret Service agent on January 6th to try to get the agent to turn around so he could, I don't know, personally lead his troops into battle in the great insurrection of January 6th. Take a listen to this. Hageman grilling Smith over Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony.
Wouldn't you agree with me that Ms. Hutchinson's testimony, especially the most explosive allegations made, was comprised of hearsay upon hearsay upon hearsay? Come on, you're an attorney, Mr. Smith. You can answer the question. Of course it was hearsay. And hearsay isn't admissible in a court of law, is it? Why? Because it is inherently unreliable, and the victim or the target of a prosecution is not able to cross-examine. Isn't that correct? In fact, Mr. Smith, if you had attempted to walk into court with Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, you would have been thrown out on your ear. No judge, no legitimate judge would have ever allowed the testimony of Cassidy Hutchins to be admitted in a court of law, would they?
I disagree.
Well, and then we've already talked about your record.
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's time has long since expired.
Oh, man, that was brutal for Smith. Will anything happen to him? Probably unlikely, unless I see evidence to the contrary. I have a difficult time believing that any left-winger in any position of power will ever face actual consequences. Will one who grabbed the butt of a prominent Milwaukee politician? Of course not. It's a left-wing Dem businessman. The great mystery of our time. Next.
Thought, not just talk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Westbound 94 slam 25th to Hawley. Eastbound delays from the Zoo to Hawley. Northbound on 43, you're stopping and going from the Marquette up to Center, and southbound Keefe back down to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Super Sure.
Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, not a little sure, but super sure. The seismic shift is coming. Super sure, coming soon.
Hey, WISN listeners, it's time to plan the annual Vicki McKenna fishing trip to Lake of the Woods, Ontario. Destination, Ballard's Black Island. Why are we going back? Obvious. It's trophy walleye, muskie, bass, northern. We catch all four in a single day. We call that the Grand Slam. And you're invited. Go to blackisland.com and sign up for the Vicki McKenna Canadian fishing trip. This trip goes fast, so get in before the spots are gone. Join me, Vicki McKenna, at blackisland.com, and let's set the hook.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid, because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Hi, Jerry Bott here for Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac, the place where they matched me with an SUV that I absolutely love. You know what else I love about Holiday? Every team member I met was knowledgeable, friendly, and fully engaged. It's that genuine, friendly professionalism you feel that inspires trust and confidence.
Get more of what moves you and score serious savings on a new all-wheel drive Mazda crossover from Holiday. Move fast and lock in money-saving offers on favorites like the fuel-stingy raved about 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Now with 0% 72-month financing or other enticing offers. Get here. Get more Mazda for your money, more for your trade, and enjoy Team Holiday's simplified buying approach and exceptional guest care. It's the stuff that makes fans of drivers from all over.
I'm a fan of Holiday Mazda. You will be too.
Come take a test drive. Find yours and drive it home today from Holiday Mazda Fond du Lac and holidaymazda.com.
It's worth the trip.
Holidays amplify depression and anxiety that afflict good people. Intravenous ketamine therapy empowers patients to reset and restore their relationships, especially their most important relationship, the one with themselves. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, Brookfield and Mequon, rnrmd.com.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Charged with an OWI, it's not just a ticket. It's on your record permanently and can affect your career or your ability to travel. One mistake shouldn't ruin your life. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. GrieveLaw.com.
Happy New Year. It's Dan O'Donnell, and you got to get to Built Right today. Built Right's New Year's mattress sale is extended. It's the best time to buy locally and love your sleep. Built Right's one location saves you time and money. They have the best selection of flippable mattresses in Wisconsin. Two sides are better than one with a flippable mattress from Built Right. 2 times the materials, 2 times the comfort and durability, in stock and on sale. Built Right has 36 flippable mattress models from 5 brands made in the USA: Therapeutic, Restonic, Schiffman, Comfort Sleep, and Gold Bond. Built Right has 2-sided models that are very affordable to the most luxurious, handmade with natural materials. Plush, firm, pillow top, and heavy-duty models that have up to a 20-year warranty. Voted best place to shop, now open 5 days to shop, Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, closed to be with family and friends. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
The new year means new resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with a promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Hi, I'm Janice Torres.
And I'm Austin Hankwitz.
And we're back for season 4 of Mind the Business Small Business Success Stories from iHeartMedia's Ruby Studio and Intuit QuickBooks.
The big thing about working in tech is that it's ever evolving, ever changing. Everyone's a rookie. That's how fast the industry is changing. So what I'm really excited about is to be part of that change.
Listen to Mind the Business Small Business Success Stories on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Mind the Business and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Last night, big Democrat forum in Milwaukee. County Executive David Crowley said he's not going to tell you what he would do as governor. Okay, that's kind of the point of a Democrat forum for governor, but he's going to tell you what he is doing as county executive when it comes to ICE.
I want to be very clear. Standing up for people's constitutional rights, whether a citizen or not, is not soft on crime at all. And we have to make sure that we continue to protect everybody and make sure that we are a safe community. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do as governor, but I can tell you exactly what I'm doing as Milwaukee County executive to make sure that we're protecting folks. And so I will tell you that right now, we are already having discussions right now. I have put in place a plan to make sure that not only law enforcement, but also our lawyers, as well as the courts, are having conversation as far as what we need to make sure that we're giving to the public just in general.
What's actually kind of remarkable is only a couple of the, I think it was 7 of the 9 candidates made their way to Milwaukee for that event last night. Only 7 of the 9 were there, and only 2 of those 7 actually said, can you guess which 2? Actually told their true position on ICE. Francesca Hong and Kelda Roys gave truly insane responses to the ICE question. Everyone else, I think, was terrified that someone like me would clip one of their radical responses and use it against them in a general election. And they're right. That's exactly what I would do with their crazy responses. In fact, we have got the absolute craziest from Kelda Roys. Yes, even crazier than Sarah Rodriguez, who is white, claiming that ICE is somehow coming for her because her last name is Rodriguez. Now, Crowley said that wanting to, hold law enforcement accountable does not make them anti-law enforcement. He actually has some experience with law enforcement. At an event for his gubernatorial campaign this past October, Milwaukee police were actually called, according to Wisconsin Right Now's Jessica McBride, because a prominent liberal Milwaukee businessman pinched the butt of a prominent Democrat politician, a man. The Crowley campaign has now issued a statement on this to Jessica McBride over at Wisconsin Right Now. We've been made aware of an investigation of an incident that occurred in October. Every such allegation deserves to be taken seriously and merits a thorough investigation. The Crowley campaign held an event at the restaurant where the incident is alleged to have occurred, but the campaign event ended before the period under investigation. Neither County Executive Crowley nor any member of his staff was present at the time of the alleged incident. We were not made aware of the incident at the time and have not been part of the investigation, end quote. So we can now rule out David Crowley. I can safely report that David Crowley's butt is safe from the mad pincher of the liberal Milwaukee business community. This sort of feels like a game of Clue, doesn't it? It was Mandela Barnes with the thumb and index finger in the conservatory. I mean, how many prominent Milwaukee politicians? Was it Chevy Johnson? I'm genuinely... So Crowley and Johnson are the 2 most prominent. You've also got, who else would be? President of the Common Council, Jose Perez, prominent politician. You've got chairman of the Milwaukee County. That's a woman. That's Marcelia Nicholson. It's a woman. So, okay, that rules her out. Bob Bauman, Milwaukee alderman. I mean, He's been around long enough. I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, liberal Milwaukee business people, you'll have to tell me how pinchable is Bob Bauman's ass. I don't know. Heavens, no, I'm not going to try to find out. I'm glad the Crowley campaign takes this seriously because I absolutely am not. This is freaking hilarious. But it is a serious, I mean, this is unwanted sexual contact that could rise to the level of sexual assault. I wonder if it was just a playful little pinch. Dude's walking past. It's, one of his buddies. There's some alcohol involved. I don't know who hasn't done that to one of their friends. Usually you sort of get that out of your system in high school. I'm not at the gym snapping dudes' bare behinds with a towel as they walk past as a 44-year-old man. But hey, then again, I'm not a prominent Milwaukee Democrat businessman. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk, and some silliness as well. We're back to it in just a second.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Westbound 94 slam 25th to Hawley. Eastbound delays from the Zoo to Hawley. Northbound on 43, you're stopping and going from the Marquette up to Center, and southbound Keefe back down to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SuperSure.
Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, not a little sure, but super sure. The seismic shift is coming. Super sure, coming soon.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass. I've been saying for years that Mander is your best decision after a collision, and here's why. My son was in a very minor fender bender during a snowstorm, and both he and the other driver, who happened to be a loyal listener, took their vehicles to Mander. The parts were ordered quickly, and they arrived faster than we thought possible. The customer service and workmanship were exceptional. That's what sets Mander apart. You're not just a number or just another job to them. You're a person who needs their car back quickly and looking as good as new, and Mander understands this and delivers every time. That's why they back up all of their work with a lifetime warranty, and that's also why I just can't recommend them highly enough. With locations across the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's one near you. So start your repair online at mandercollision.com.
Do you want to stash away some secret stuff? Park it right here.
Where?
In the Parker bedroom from Penny Mustard.
The Parker is their top-selling bedroom collection.
The classic Louis Philippe-inspired design blends with just about any decor. From Main Street, USA to Park Avenue.
But what really sets it apart is the secret storage.
The Parker collection features secret storage areas, including the 4-post bed. You know, for extra parking.
These secret spots can hold a lot more than you'd expect.
You can park a lot of stuff in there. Made from solid wood with forever tight bed brackets and drawer bottoms you can stand on. Whoever designed the Parker really knocked it out of the park.
Hey.
Yeah?
Park it over there.
The Parker bedroom with queen post bed, 8-drawer dresser, landscape mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $10,213 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com. Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements with convenient financing options, including 18 months, no interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. Call Ryan.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell, for my friends at Current Electric, they'd like to thank Southeast Wisconsin for making them the #1 choice in same-day electrical services. Do you know the reason so many people choose Current Electric? It's trust. And it's that simple. People trust the Current Electric electricians that come into their homes and perform same-day electrical service and repairs and have for over 40 years. Give the superheroes from Current Electric a chance to earn your trust. You won't be sorry. Go to callcurrent.com.
A great present for you or someone you truly love is a certificate for a brand new iPhone touchscreen installed conveniently in 20 minutes at home or work. Optic nerves and information reunited. SmartTechPhoneRepair.com. That's SmartTechPhoneRepair.com.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to SimplifyRoofing.com.
You love her twice as much today as the day you married her, right?
Welcome to Kessler's.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
No talking points, just in-depth analysis and exclusive investigations.
The Dan O'Donnell Show, weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Offering the latest information and the greatest analysis. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Milwaukee Brewers made a big trade last night, and it's one that a lot of fans knew was coming, but still did not want to see. Freddie Peralta goes to the Mets in exchange for two of their top prospects. One of them has one of the best names I think I've ever heard, Jet Williams. Sounds like one of the kids from The Sandlot that outran the big dog to get the Babe Ruth ball back. Jet Williams goes to the Brewers. So too does a top pitching prospect. And a lot of people around baseball took to social media and said that the Brewers are a trash organization because they won the most games in baseball last year at 97, and they traded away their ace. They are what's wrong with the game, not the Dodgers. Making trades like the ones that the Brewers make every year inevitable. It's a fundamental misunderstanding. It's sort of like in the movie Moneyball, Brad Pitt as Billy Beane. We are playing a rigged game, gentlemen. Brewers are. They had to trade Freddie Peralta because they've got a grand total of one more year of team control, and there's zero chance they're ever going to be able to re-sign him in free agency because a team like the Dodgers or a team like the Mets would simply throw $50 million a year at him, and the Brewers couldn't possibly pay that. They don't have the wherewithal financially. They don't have the ability to pay that. So every couple of years, yes, the Brewers do need to trade away their top prospects. It's one of the big reasons that the Brewers are competitive year in and year out because they understand the economics of baseball. Look, folks, I don't like it any better than you do, but the reality is that the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers season was a massive surprise. I can tell you people inside the ball club didn't think that the Brewers were going to do anything last year at the start of the season. Heck, the owner, Mark Atanasio, didn't remember in training camp in spring training when he famously said, or rather infamously said, well, what is the point of a baseball team? Is it to win ball games or is it to provide you with a great afternoon of entertainment? Mark, I'm way more entertained when the Brewers win, so it's absolutely to win baseball games. In order to do that, occasionally, unfortunately, a team like the Brewers needs to trade away its stars because a team like the Mets is almost certainly going to overpay for Peralta, and the Brewers have to get guys who are under team control. It's a big reason why they signed Jackson Chourio to a long-term deal, probably underpaying him when he was 18, 19 years old. And people thought, oh my goodness, this is crazy money to give a prospect. It's the only big contracts that the Brewers really are in a position to give, because now they're competing with teams like the Mets and Dodgers, who will just defer hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars long into the future, something that the Brewers simply can't do. Folks, this does not change anything. The Brewers are not a trash organization for trading their ace. It's unfortunately what top organizations don't have to do, but organizations that don't have 10-figure TV contracts need to. It is my very strong suspicion that there's going to be a lockout following this upcoming baseball season, 2026. The owners know there needs to be a salary cap. There needs to be something of a level playing field like there is in every other American sport. And the players have been unwilling to budge on this with good reason. I wouldn't want a salary cap. If there was a salary cap in radio, I would hate that. Now, there kind of is a salary cap in radio. It's called a rapidly splintering audience. But I understand the player's position completely. It's just untenable. It's not a league that is in a position to exist long term. When you go into a season, look, the Dodgers won 2 straight World Series and they signed the best free agent on the market. The Brewers win 97 games. They know they have no prayer of ever re-signing their ace, so they've got to trade him. That's not a league that's set up for long-term success. All right, coming up after the top of the hour news, you're not going to want to miss this. Last night, Democrat gubernatorial forum. We have got all the highlights we'll discuss right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Stay tuned.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee. An iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Maloney, a prominent civil rights attorney and at least one other person involved in an anti-immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church have been arrested. That's according to Attorney General Pam Bondi. 2 arrests have been made following a high-speed Milwaukee street race that led to a fatal hit-and-run crash. 22-year-old Dayton Milligan faces charges including reckless homicide in last week's crash that killed 34-year-old EMT Mang Q. A criminal complaint says a witness saw 3 vehicles racing on Milwaukee's northwest side. A pickup involved in the race struck an SUV driven by Q. Investigators say Milligan never had a driver's license and was convicted in a fatal 2020 hit-and-run crash in Ashland County. Check the Hyundai Automotive Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard. The Badger men's basketball team's back in action when they take on Penn State tonight. From the Orthopedic Associates at Wisconsin News Center, I'm Sean Maloney on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center. Odoo.com, the only business software you need.
The Arctic cold front comes through this evening, and that means rapidly falling temperatures and windy conditions tonight. Wind chills between minus 35 and minus 45 by morning. Afternoon wind chills of minus 25 to minus 30. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling. First Choice Heating and Cooling's new Premier program covers everything. New system installation, all repairs, maintenance, even filters. One simple monthly payment. True worry-free comfort. Call First Choice Heating and Cooling today for details.
Bob from Redefine Realty with a riddle for you. Guess correctly before I give the answer, and you are a winner. Only agents from one real estate company already know the answer. Ready? Pay attention. Here goes. I'm a contest between 4 or 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? You got it? Are you a winner? Need more time? No, it's not the record at auction sale price of $2 million for a Wu-Tang Clan vinyl record. That's an impressive guess, though. Selling a home? Only Redefined Realty's proprietary method guarantees buyers get every opportunity to pay you maximum dollar and that you will leave closing with maximum profit. One more time, I'm a contest between 4, 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? The answer is a Redefined Realty MLS home sale boosted by Easy Home Bidder Auction. Buyers win, sellers win. Let yourself win. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
No plumbing problem is too large or too small for S&K Pump and Plumbing Service Department. Their professional technicians can handle everything from faucet repair and drain cleaning to water heaters and garbage disposals, and then some. Whether it's repair or installation, they thrive on getting the job done neatly and efficiently. Call 262-784-HELP or visit SNKPump.com.
When it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK Pump and Plumbing.
Annex Wealth Management's education continues in 2026 to help you stay informed. Join Annex Wealth Management CEO Dave Spano and Chief Economic Strategist Dr. Brian Jacobson as they review key data points Thursday, January 21st at the Pfister.
2026 is shaping up to be a year like no other. The question is, how will it affect your financial plan? We're looking forward to seeing you navigating the markets 2026 and beyond. That's January 21st at the Pfister with Annex Wealth Management.
Meticulous discovery, acquisition, documentation, and preservation of evidence by Warshawski's nationally certified legal investigator makes your case a high-risk monetary proposition for risk-adverse insurance companies. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.
The new year means new resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Sider. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
Goldwall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Joe Still with your closing business report. The major averages climbed higher today, extending gains from the previous session and recovering losses seen earlier in the week after President Trump called off his planned tariffs for 8 NATO members. In earnings news, shares of Procter & Gamble rose 3% after the company topped its fiscal second quarter adjusted earnings per share. However, revenue came in slightly below expectations. Despite the mixed results, Procter & Gamble maintained its full-year forecast. On the day, the Dow was up 306 to 49,384. The S&P 500 rose 37, and the Nasdaq was higher by 211 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Joe Still.
Democrat Candidate Forum with 7 of the 9 contenders for the Democratic nomination for governor in Milwaukee last night. It was moderated by the guy who does the recombobulation area. Why is his name on the tip of my tongue? Dan Schaefer. Dan Schaefer was the moderator of it. And it was every bit as crazy as you could imagine. These are left-wing radicals. They are socialists, every last one of them. There is not a mainstream Democrat to be found. Not Joel Brennan, not Missy Hughes. Both of them appeared to be trying to tack to the center. In fact, all of them were trying to tack to the center. David Crowley, the Milwaukee County executive / chief butt-pinching investigator. Oh, wait, no. He said he had nothing to do with the butt-pinching incident at his fundraiser back in October. Is David Crowley a butt-pinching enthusiast? I don't know. I think you will have to go to his next fundraiser to find out. It's my favorite story of the year, folks. I can't. Somebody pinched somebody's butt at the David Crowley fundraiser back in October. Our good friend Jessica McBride is on the case. I'm told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel is also filing FOIA requests trying to get this police report. So it is a race. Should I file a FOIA report? Do I even want to know who pinched whose butt? Who am I kidding? Of course I want to know who pinched whose butt. As soon as I figure out the particulars of the great butt-pinching incident of 2025, I will report it to you, because that's what we do here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We report the news that is important to you here in Wisconsin. Obviously, the sun is set. It is getting very, very cold. Standard precautions apply. Folks, we are men of the North. We have been through this a million times. It is going to get bone-chillingly cold. We don't need an extreme cold warning to tell us that maybe it's finally time to wear socks with our sandals and maybe go with these slightly longer shorts than we've been wearing for much of the winter thus far. Don't go outside unless you absolutely have to. Pretty much every school district across the state is going to shut down. The wind chill is going to be 40 below. Tonight, I think it's going to get down to about 25 below. The feels like temperature is already down out there. Normally, I actually, during one of the commercial breaks, just to kind of get the blood pumping, I'll walk a lap around the building. Not doing that during today's show, because even I have some limits with my craziness. Cold Hard Cash Contest word this hour, happy, as in every single school kid is happy because they won't have to go to school. A second straight 3-day weekend will make them happy. 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 You've got until 55 past the hour. Go to our website. Enter the keyword happy to enter the contest for this hour. You know what makes me happy? Democrats revealing just how nuts they are. Now, a whole lot of them were trying to play things close to the vest. They were not taking the bait on the abolish ICE nonsense, because they know that once they get out of this crowded primary, they have to sound normal so that the normies will vote for them. But not Francesca Hong. Oh, Franny. She is fast becoming my favorite Democrat in Wisconsin. She is sort of like Wisconsin's AOC, because she'll say the crazy part out loud consistently. Just listen to her platform.
Put a stake in Act 10 and repeal it and ensure that it never happens again. Fully fund public education. Reimburse special education at 90%, put us at parity with voucher schools. Make sure we are sunsetting the voucher program so that we are no longer siphoning away resources from our public schools to private schools.
You hear that, taxpayers? If Franny Hong is elected governor, you are going to be on the hook for billions of dollars, because Act 10 will be gone. It will never, ever, ever be back. And you know, a lot of these gubernatorial candidates, they're going to be off the hook, because the state Supreme Court, as soon as that election is over, I'm telling you, the day after the election results are certified, watch for a ruling striking down Act 10. Shortly thereafter, watch for a ruling from the panels of judges. I still can't believe that they think that this is constitutional. They're going to strike down, or at least try to strike down, Wisconsin's congressional maps. But of course, they don't want to do it. They don't want to get slapped down by the United States Supreme Court like they were earlier this year in Truth truly embarrassing fashion. When you're too left-wing and stupid for the wise Latina Sonia Sotomayor, you know you are too left-wing and stupid. And that's just what happened. Sonia Sotomayor wrote the opinion striking down the Wisconsin Supreme Court. It was truly breathtaking. And I think it put the fear of the Lord in those justices. So they're impaneling two groups of left-wing circuit court judges to strike down Wisconsin's congressional maps to try to gerrymander them. A little bit beside the point. Last night's Democrat Forum featured all sorts of policy insanity, your usual pandering, and this should make anybody who is doing business or wants to do business in Milwaukee County a little terrified, because your county executive said that no tax breaks should go to you if your business has $1 million.
Tax credits should go towards businesses that are actually producing and actually helping out our community. And so when I think about tax credits, it's about how we're making sure that we're helping small and mid-sized companies, because millionaires and billionaires, let's face it, they don't deserve a tax credit. They absolutely don't deserve a tax credit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait. His county is the one that sold the Bucks the land for the Deer District for $1, right? He was very much in support. I know he wasn't county executive back then, but he was very much in support of the tax credits for the billionaire owners of the Bucks to build a new stadium, was he not? Just some food for thought there. Millionaires and who the hell do you think? Well, first of all, we've got a grand total of like 5 billionaires in the entire state of Wisconsin. Who do you think is setting up these businesses? Who do you think is employing people in Milwaukee County? Millionaire business people. Who do you think, County Executive Crowley, is grabbing politicians' butts at your fundraiser? It is the millionaire Democrat business people who clearly are in support of your campaign. Easily the most insane line of the night, though, has to go to yet another candidate who is trying desperately to appear to be not crazy, Sarah Rodriguez, Wisconsin's lieutenant governor. The final question of the night was the one I actually would have led with, because it's the one that has galvanized left-wingers from coast to coast, and we are just a state away from the craziness in Minneapolis, and that is ICE. Sarah Rodriguez, who is white. She is not Hispanic. She is white. White. She claims she is a target of ICE because her husband is a naturalized citizen, keyword citizen. Now, is she married to a Tren de Aragua gangbanger? I'm finding that very difficult to believe. And she says because her kids speak Spanish, she, white Sarah, is a target of ICE.
It is personal to me. My husband is a naturalized citizen from Mexico. I have children and we speak Spanish outside of the house. I am one of those targets. And so I wanted to make sure that people knew I stand with immigrants, I stand with Wisconsinites, and we are not going to take this from those federal agents.
I would donate $10,000 to Sarah Rodriguez's campaign right now to hear her speak Spanish in public. Hola, me llamo Sarah. Me gusta nachos. Way to try to pretend to be down with the struggle, Senora Rodriguez. Now, Francesca Hong and Kelda Roys apparently do not like each other at all. In fact, the word I have heard describing their relationship is mutual hatred. And I think the reason is because both are competing to be the most left-wing crazy in a crowded field of left-wing crazies. And nowhere was this more apparent than on their answers on the ICE question. Kelda Roys gave the most liberal wine ant answer in the history of liberal wine ant answers, hitting all the left-wing notes about how much she hates ICE and Trump and the modern-day Nazi party.
This is the single biggest threat that our country is facing right now. Donald Trump and his authoritarian Republican regime have unleashed a violent, unaccountable, lawless paramilitary force on American streets, weaponized against all of us.
Okay. Just jumping in real quick. This sounds like she's practiced this in the mirror at least 5 times every night. This is the most rehearsed thing I think I have ever heard.
All Americans, every one of us is at risk because of this.
She doesn't even sound like she's got any emotion. All of us are at risk. Every single one of us, especially Sarah Rodriguez, who is white, but somehow being hunted down by ICE as we speak.
We need to stand with the communities that are currently under siege, including our neighbors in Minnesota. But we also need to make sure that we elect a governor who will do everything in her power to stop this and protect us from harm and hold every single ICE agent and every single enabler who breaks our laws fully accountable. And I am talking about civil liability and I am talking about criminal liability.
So she wants to lock the ICE agents up. Now, she's talking about holding everybody accountable. Would that be the people who commit crimes in resisting ICE or just the ICE agents? This, by the way, is why Vice President J.D. Vance was saying federal agents who are accused of criminal wrongdoing in the course of their official responsibilities, not, driving drunk off the clock or something like that, why they need to be tried in federal court. Would you trust, after hearing that, the Kelda Helen Roy's Justice Department fairly prosecuting an ICE agent for supposedly, kicking down the door and arresting a 5-year-old? By the way, Vance did a great job debunking the latest left-wing hysteria. No, a 5-year-old kid was not arrested by ICE in Minneapolis. All right. You want to know why Kelda Royce and Francesca Hong hate each other? Because Francesca is jealous, Kelda is jealous of Francesca. Normally, you cannot out crazy a liberal white lady like Kelda Royce. Liberal white lady Sarah Rodriguez tried to do so by saying she is currently hiding in the annex from ICE agents. Can't do it. Kelda Royce actually pretended to be in a gay marriage when she ran for governor the first time, like 15 years ago. You think I'm making this up? I most certainly am not. This was back before the Supreme Court in Obergefell v. Hodges legalized gay marriage. And Iowa had gay marriage, Wisconsin did not. She told a story about how she had to go to Iowa to marry her partner. I'm not kidding about this. Her partner's a guy. Her partner is her husband. Her husband is from Iowa. She went to Iowa because her husband is from there to get married so it would be closer to his family. But she pretended that she was gay. We called her the Legend of Kelda for a long time after that because she pretended to be in a gay marriage to have more liberal bona fides. It is very difficult to get crazier than that. But by God, here comes Francesca Hong. And Francesca Hong is like twice as crazy as Kelda Royce. And Kelda is very jealous. So these two just dislike each other. And when I say Kelda is crazy, and when I say you don't get crazier left-wing than Francesca, this is what I'm talking about.
ICE is a rogue agency, and they no longer serve any sort of safety. They are, abolishing ICE is a meaningful policy if we want to keep each other safe. And the plan has to be not only providing resources for every person to know, whether it's know your rights training, legal observer training, making sure that we're only calling the Voces hotline when there actually is ICE agents present or when you know somebody that is detained. Please share information and not and don't spread panic.
Whoa, wait. She just gave me an idea. Wait. We'll get back to her craziness in a second.
I think that.
Wait a second. She said people are calling the ICE verifier hotline that radical left-wing agency Voces de la Frontera set up, and they're spreading panic by giving false tips. That's a thing that's happening? Man, that would be awful if people started jamming the ICE verifier hotline. I mean, I'm not going to give it out. I mean, you're going to have to look up 1-800-427-0213 to call the ICE verifier hotline and give them false tips about where ICE is. But Francesca is saying it's a big problem, that they can't get the left-wing radicals out to obstruct ICE because people are calling 1-800-427-0213 and just giving like false tips to Voces de la Frontera about where ICE is. Like, for example, I'm going to a kid's concert. It's a big, district-wide orchestra thing. And if I wanted to get out of it, I would say, like, call up and say, hey, I would call 1-800-427-0213. I'm like, man, I think there's a bunch of ICE agents that are going to be at this concert. I think you should probably go there and cause a scene. Or if I were to say, like, on the coldest day of the year, yes, ICE verifiers, you left-wing radicals, ICE is in the middle of the state forest. You got to go right to smack dab. You got to get out of your car and you got to walk like a mile or two. I would call 1-800-427-0213 and do that. But again, I'm not going to tell anybody to do that because, far be it from me to get in the way of left-wing radicals committing crimes by impeding federal law enforcement. So I would never, ever call 1-800-427-0213. I just would not do it, and you should not either, because the left-wing radicals absolutely need to get in the way. They need to do exactly what they're doing in Minneapolis. So do not, under any circumstances, send these crazies to random places by calling 1-800-427-0213. Okay, back to Francesca Hong, because she has a big finish here with some truly interesting thoughts about ICE.
In order for us to make sure that everyone feels safe in our state, it's important to recognize what we can and cannot do. And in the legislature, I introduced the Keep Families Together Act, No Secret Police, ensure we end 287G agreements, ensure that we do not have ICE detention centers, and that there are grants for immigrants who need representation in the courts. And so there has to be resourcing community resistance, but also knowing that via executive order and directive to the legislature, and ensuring that the Attorney General is able to take action against an agency that is rogue, that is essentially comprised of white supremacists. They will come after folks. It doesn't matter who you are, that we build that community resistance, and that we expect every single elected official to share widely that ICE out.
I told you, you cannot out crazy Francesca Hong. Now, this might shock you folks, but if you want to stop that white supremacist agency, I'm actually going to partner with Voces de la Frontera. Francesca has convinced me that we need to stop ICE, and we need to, and the thing is, ICE could be anywhere and everywhere all at once. So, I mean, if you see ICE maybe on top of a very tall building, if you see ICE somewhere in the middle of a frozen lake, you should definitely send some of those community resistance patriots, warriors, out there to the middle of a frozen lake, to the top of a tall building. Maybe, I don't know, Jones Island. I heard ICE is out on Jones Island. It's, yep, I know. They are conducting ICE raids. They are looking for illegals amidst the floating poop on Jones Island. So 1-800-427-0213. I mean, we want tips, right? I'm not going to tell you to call, but I'm also not going to not tell you to call. Much more from the crazies next.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Southbound on 43, just past the Marquette interchange, you got a crash that's partially blocking the left lane. Heavy delays starting back at Burleigh. Westbound on 94, jammed from 16th over to Hawley with roadwork. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell, and the new year is kicking off with a bang at the Lynch family of dealerships. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your ride, this is it. Your New Year's resolution should be a new car or truck right now. During the New Year sales event, you can lease the brand new Chevy Equinox for just $249 a month plus tax. That's right, $249. Need something tougher? How about 20% off GMC Sierras? Yes, 20% off. And if you've had your eye on a Ram pickup, we've got 0% financing available. But hurry, these deals will not last long. Start the new year in style and savings at Lynch. Find them in McWanago, Burlington, West Bend, or Kenosha. They've got Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and a huge selection of Lynch-certified pre-owned vehicles. Find them 24 hours a day at shoplynch.com. The Lynch family of dealerships wishes you a prosperous 2026.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
For over 41 years, we've helped Wisconsin folks create beautiful, affordable, and durable bathrooms.
You'll get our expert guidance and long-lasting quality products.
And nobody beats our prices.
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with a Fox Celebrity Profile with Oscar-winning writer-director James L. Brooks, whose classic films include Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, and As Good as It Gets. Brooks has a new film in theaters, Ella McKay, a comedy described as a story about surviving the people you love, as it follows a young new governor navigating career and family.
When you're creating these characters, what's your process in terms of collaborating with the actors on them?
When you're writing it, you see a movie. And the thing is, because you know what the writer went through, you try and get that movie, but there's another movie you're getting at the same time. And that's the team sport of it. And the team sport of it is what we're together for, what each person brings.
What is one character, an actor who really surprised you most in their interpretation of what you wrote?
This is As Good as It Gets. There was a scene where the guy was in the hospital. He was completely banged up. He had been beaten. And the two other major characters came to see him. And it was written as a dramatic scene. And we got there. It started to play for laughs and we went with it. That was the best.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
I do have fun with the ICE Verifier hotline. It's a singularly bad idea to send gullible morons into potentially harm's way. Like, folks, a lot of the people who actually do this ICE Verifier stuff, they are not the, shall we say, they're not the most hinged individuals in the world. So they're going out there. People are calling this Voces de la Frontera hotline, and they're sending these people out to, quote, document and peacefully observe ICE doing their thing. Do you think anything peaceful is going on in Minneapolis right now? They're throwing stuff at Border Patrol Executive Director Greg Bovino. It's on camera. They're impeding federal law enforcement. That is a federal crime, and a rather serious one. They're not just taking down license plate numbers. And oh, by the way, in case you're wondering why those ICE agents have to wear masks, it's because of stuff like this. So yeah, I am going to do everything in my power to mess with it because I think it is dangerous. It is criminal. And it's something that should not be going on in Wisconsin. The fact that you've got idiots like Francesca Hong, who is doing shockingly well in this primary because there are plenty of idiots who think exactly like she does. The fact that she's promoting it in this Democrat forum, it's the height of irresponsibility. Renee Good was trying to be an ICE verifier. She was trying to be an ICE observer. She was shot and killed because she got so amped up, she drove right into a federal agent. She died because of it. People are, they constantly think they're playing some sort of role-playing game. It's like Dungeons and ICE agents. So when you lose all your hit points, you die for real. You don't get to respawn. You can go to prison. All right, back to the candidate forum. Man, I've missed this. When Mandela Barnes was running for the Senate in 2022, he famously said, what? That's right. His mom was a teacher and his dad worked third shift. Why? Because he didn't do anything of value except run for office or do quote unquote community organizing. He said it so many times, it became a massive joke when he was running for Senate 4 years ago. Guess what he busted out last night?
Now, for folks who may not know, my mother was a public school teacher and my dad, he did work third shift on the assembly. Now, and I repeat that story time and time again.
Yes, you did, Mandela. Yes, you did. And we loved it every time you said it. I can't believe he brought back an old favorite. Now, you might think Mandela Barnes, who was photographed holding up a shirt that said abolish ICE and clearly wants to abolish ICE, would talk about abolishing ICE. But remember, Mandela has the very, very difficult task of convincing Democrats that he is not too left-wing and crazy for them. And when you're too left-wing and crazy for the Democrat Party in 2026, you know, my friend, you are too left-wing and crazy. There were a number of articles that came out right before and after Mandela announced, notably in the New York Times and the Milwaukee Courier, a very prominent Black-owned newspaper in Milwaukee, both essentially urging him not to run or saying that he was not going to be the chosen son. He was not simply going to be anointed like he was in the primary of 2022 when his main competition dropped out right before Election Day. Interestingly enough, while mail-in ballots were still being returned, early voting was going on, and Alex Flashery and Sarah Godlewski both dropped out. Godlewski very clearly was rewarded by being named Secretary of State the second that the outgoing Doug LaFollette retired after winning his 57th consecutive term. Tony Evers rewarded her for her loyalty by giving her the do-nothing position of Secretary of State. She's clearly, if she doesn't win lieutenant governor, she's running for lieutenant governor. What she really wants, she's positioning herself for a run for the United States Senate. That's the one she really wanted in a hilarious move. She's got a wealthy husband. He's a hedge fund guy. She's one of those millionaires and billionaires that everybody pretends in the Democratic Party to hate. They actually bought a condo in Washington, D.C. while she was in the primary, just assuming she was going to win. Oh, as they say, reality hits you hard, bro. She most certainly did not win, but she's going to give it the old college try again for the Ron Johnson seat on the assumption, perhaps incorrect, that Johnson is not going to run again in, what would it be, 2028? Yeah, in 28. I think he's absolutely thinking about running again because he's enjoying the heck out of it. Look, I don't know. But I would be surprised if Ron doesn't run in any event. You would think Mandela would be all aboard the abolish ICE train. Oh, he said some anti-ICE stuff, but it was restrained for Mandela at least.
We've seen time and time again in other cities, folks who are citizens being detained, people who have done nothing wrong, no criminal record, being terrorized in communities by a lawless president at his directive who seeks to divide communities and make us feel less safe. He is using a private military force that is masked, that is coming in communities, causing chaos, causing division, and ultimately taking lives of people who live here. We need a governor who's going to stand up, a governor who's going to use every tool at his disposal or their disposal, a governor who is going to empower the Department of Justice. Most importantly, a governor who's going to be bold, a governor who won't be afraid of the president's retribution, regardless of what a president tries to do, if you stand up and do the right thing.
So he basically said nothing there. And if you stand up, none of these people, again, I keep going back to this banger of a tweet from a year ago. So much of leftist discourse is them pretending not to know things, making discourse impossible. That is what we got here. You cannot stop, as a state governor, ICE. You cannot impede a federal law enforcement agency in your state. That is unlawful. It's unconstitutional. They pretend not to understand the Supremacy Clause. They pretend not to understand federalism. They just pretend not to understand how any of this works. Mandela there was trying to sound like a centrist. He was trying to. So what he is doing is attempting to project the air of inevitability. He wants another poll to come out showing that he's doubling up the field simply because he's the only one with name recognition. And he wants to just go right to the general election. Tom Tiffany is employing the same strategy, but Tiffany is very ahead in the polls and very ahead in the fundraising. And Mandela, it is clear his party does not want him to be the nominee because I think his party is determined that he cannot win, that he's one of the few candidates on that. I think they have determined him or Francesca Hong are pretty much guaranteed losers because they are so out there, they're so radical, and because Mandela was given the keys to the kingdom. He was given a ton of money in 2022, and he badly lagged Governor Evers on the same ballot. So much so that he couldn't pick off Democrats' number one target in that election, which was Ron Johnson. Bottom line from last night's candidate forum, I don't think anybody made any significant moves. Francesca Hong and Kelda Roys battled for supremacy amongst the crazy left. Mandela, I think, did a decent enough job convincing the Democrat Party that he is not so radically left that he's impossible to elect in a general election. Joel Brennan and Missy Hughes were basically non-factors, and David Crowley, frankly, came across as not particularly ready for prime time. And I wonder how far that's going to go in convincing Democrat power brokers that, hey, maybe Mandela isn't so bad after all. We'll see. Coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show, it is now beyond apparent that Giannis wants out of Milwaukee.
Southbound 43 from Capitol to the Marquette, westbound 94 from 25th to Hawley. Got eastbound delays on 94, starting just east of the Zoo interchange, clearing up after 68th. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Winter in Wisconsin can be mighty frigid, but we have something that can warm anyone's cockles. Play the nationwide Cold Hard Cash Contest 9 times each weekday on Newstalk 1130 WISN. Listen for a keyword, then enter it at newstalk1130.com. If your entry is selected, you win $1,000.
The Cold Hard Cash Contest is presented by Ward Kitchen and Bath in Saukville. They'll help you get rid of that ugly Whirlpool tub, turning your places into amazing spaces. WardKitchenandBath.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, where I've been taking my vehicles for years. People always ask me, Dan, are they really that good? And I always say, they're better. The workmanship is outstanding, and it's backed by a lifetime warranty. But what really sets Mander apart is the customer service they provide and their attention to detail. Just listen to this 5-star review from Greg. Brian and the crew took excellent care of my car. Professional, friendly, and kept in good contact throughout the entire process. Could not recommend a better place. Thanks for the great service and experience. The work they did was awesome, and my car looks amazing. Mine always have two, Greg. That's why I've referred at least a dozen friends and family members to Mander over the years, and all of them had the exact same experience that Greg did. You will too. All you need to do is to start your repair today by heading to mandercollision.com.
Flawless eliminates noticeable carpet stains and stink, while iNet branding web and radio get businesses noticed. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Opposite and the same. Beautiful carpet and luxury vinyl from Flawless get noticed. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
I'm Fred Schwertfeger, president at Horicon Bank. We're a community-focused bank, proudly family and employee-owned. With our ongoing success in the Milwaukee area, we've expanded our team, adding 2 seasoned professionals, mortgage loan originator Nick Hiltz and business development officer Eric Weisenet. Nick, what is it about Horicon Bank that resonates with you?
It's Horicon Bank's active commitment to better serving the needs of home buyers in and around Milwaukee. I'm eager to make home financing easier and more accessible for those who live in this area.
Eric, your turn. What motivated you to migrate to Horicon Bank?
At Horicon Bank, they build genuine relationships with their customers. I'm excited to leverage my experience to help local businesses thrive and grow. It's community banking at its finest.
Stop by our Wauwatosa branch at the Mayfair Collection to meet Nick and Eric and to see why Horicon Bank is the natural choice.
Horicon Bank, NMLS 434805. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Nicholas Hiltz, NMLS 759701.
Happy New Year. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at locally and family-owned Built Right Furniture. Built Right's New Year's sale is extended. Now is the best time to refresh your home. Built Right has the largest selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses. Built Right saves you money. Voted best place to shop and now open 5 days to shop. Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday and Monday closed to be with family and friends. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight, making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
This year, Bayview Shade and Blind is celebrating 100 years of helping our neighbors bring comfort and style to their living spaces. We just want to pause for a moment and say thank you for letting Bayview Shade and Blind be a part of your home, sharing a little sunshine from our family to yours.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
The football postseason lives on iHeartRadio.
And Denver's going to the AFC Championship game.
From the official NFL Podcast Network. Welcome to NFL Daily, Fox Sports Radio.
And now you have Denver without Bo Nix, and you got Jared Stidham.
Or local stations that bring you the games live.
False intercepted, and the Broncos have it at their own 40.
This is 24/7 coverage of everything you love about football.
Just open the iHeartRadio app and search NFL to dive in.
This is where sycophants and chills are shunned, and commitment to the unvarnished truth is sustained. Just one reason that this is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
No radio handy?
No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com.
The Bucks are the talk of the NBA, and for all the wrong reasons, after yet another embarrassing loss last night. How long do they let this go on? They've got to fire Doc Rivers at some point, right? I mean, Matt LaFleur makes the playoffs every single year. Somehow he gets a big contract extension, even though half of the fan base is calling for him to be fired. Are there any Doc Rivers defenders left in Bucks Nation? The nonverbals, literally nonverbals, not good last night. In a very much replayed portion of the game, there's a timeout, and the Bucks are walking off the court. Doc is trying to talk to Giannis, his superstar, trying to coach him up or trying to criticize him or something. He's talking to Giannis. Giannis walks right past him like he's not even there, doesn't even acknowledge him at all. Now, we as fans have a tendency to read way too much into this stuff. This did not happen in a vacuum. After the game, Giannis made incredibly sharp comments about how selfish his teammates were being. Giannis only apparently put up 11 shots last night, which is absurd to me. Giannis should be taking the most shots in every game he is on the court. This is insanity if he is not. Unless he has 5 fouls within the first 5 minutes he's out there, he needs to be on the floor and he needs to be dominating the offense. But he wasn't. And he lashed out at his teammates because, well, they were trying to do it themselves.
Not playing hard. Not playing hard. We not do the right thing. Not play to win. Not play together. Our chemistry's not there. Guys are being selfish. Guys are trying to look for their own shots instead of looking for the right shot for the team. Guys try to do it on their own.
Yeesh. That is not what somebody who is particularly happy with his situation says. Now, I get it. It's frustrating. But again, this does not happen in a vacuum. What I have long thought is that what I have been hearing rumblings since late last season that Giannis is very unhappy with the Bucks organization and he wants out, but he desperately does not want to be seen as forcing his way out of Milwaukee. So he's trying to go behind the scenes. He's said all the right things. Well, I'm going to be playing in Milwaukee as long as they'll have me. Notice he did not say, I am going to end my career here. He absolutely could. He doesn't want to be the arrogant superstar. He wants the fans' love. I think he's desperately afraid of all of those years of goodwill that he's built up just evaporating instantly if he forces his way out. I wouldn't hold it against him. The Bucks are a dumpster fire of an organization right now, and they don't have a draft pick until, 2057? I'd want to go to greener pastures the second I could get there, knowing full well that you are in every professional sport measured only by one metric now, and that's how many championships you win. Kevin Durant is team hopped for the last decade and a half trying to get championships. To some extent, LeBron has done the exact same thing. Giannis doesn't want to be seen like that. He doesn't want to be hated by Bucks fans. But at some point, dude, you know what? Or get off the pot. You don't have to say it publicly, but make it clear to the Bucks you want out. It's best for the organization to actually rebuild around young talent because this core is not going anywhere. And it's best for you to get one last big contract and to play for a contender where you can get another championship or two. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is conservative thought, not just talk, and it is coming right back.
Been a bit of a heavy delay building westbound on 894 coming off of the Mitchell interchange. That's because of police activity off to the right shoulder. Folks slowing down to take a look. 94 westbound is heavy 25th to Mitchell Boulevard and eastbound from 92nd to the stadium. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's the New Year's sales event at the Lynch family of dealerships, and the deals are kicking the year off with a bang. 20% off Sierras, 0% on Rams, and leases starting at $249 on the all-new Equinox. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our phone number. Unbelievably, demand has helped Cut and Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut and Go 262-443-4995 or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut and Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip and Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's CUTNGOtrees.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of not planning for the future can be devastating. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you ended up in the hospital without the ability to make your own medical decisions? Or what will happen to your family if you die without a will? Without a power of attorney, your family could face agonizing decisions without knowing what you wanted. You could undergo medical interventions you don't want, or worse, lie in limbo while medical staff tries to determine who should have the final say in what happens to you. When you're gone, your loved ones could end up in probate with legal battles, high court costs and fees, and family disputes over your assets. In probate, everyone can see your assets, from the government to your nosy neighbors. Plan today so you can have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't leave your family in chaos and confusion. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Visit grievecivillaw.com.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer makes selling your home as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get a no-obligation cash offer in 24 hours. Make sure it works for you, then pick your closing date. We will handle literally everything else at no expense. Visit metromilwaukeehomebuyer.com.
Jay here again for my friends at Semperfi Roofing. The Wisconsin winter's especially hard on the roof of your home. The folks at Semperfi want you to keep an eye out for signs of winter roofing problems. Icicles hanging from your gutters, uneven snow melt on your roof, or water stains on your ceiling. If you see any of these, don't wait. Call the roofing experts at Semperfi. See, unlike a lot of roofers in the area, Semperfi doesn't shut down during the winter. They know your roof problems can't wait until spring. In fact, they can be at your home within 24 hours and do a free 21-point inspection, diagnose the issue, and recommend a solution. And if it's time for a new roof, their highly trained installation teams will install it perfectly the first time, clean up after themselves, and leave your home and yard nicer than they found it. So if you see signs of winter roofing problems, don't wait. Set up your free no-obligation roof inspection and estimate today. 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi. Dedicated to providing right-minded candor on the issues that matter to you. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Fox on Tech.
OpenAI is warning that China could be on the road to winning the AI race because they're already surpassing us in new electricity capacity production. In a policy brief sent to the Trump administration, the company warns that China is building power infrastructure nearly 10 times faster than the U.S. That's why they're calling for the administration to work with the private sector to build 100 gigawatts of new energy capacity each year. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said that the federal government reversal to a pro-energy policy under the Trump administration has been essential to their success. So when I asked about OpenAI's call, he agreed with the need for more capacity.
President Trump on first day has been very pro-energy growth. If not for that pro-energy growth perspective and that initiative, we would be in big trouble. There's no question about that. We need a lot more energy to sustain the growth of American industries.
For Fox on Tech, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
The most accurate, complete news about Milwaukee.
Every hour, every day. This is News Talk 1130. WISN.
Some breaking political news to end the Dan O'Donnell show that is going to have major implications and make it much more difficult for Republicans to retain control of the Wisconsin State Senate. Senator Rob Hutton has announced this afternoon that he is not going to seek re-election, and he represents a district that was gerrymandered in favor of Democrats. It used to be Brookfield and a little bit to the west. Now it's basically a little bit of Brookfield, a whole lot of Wauwatosa, even some of Milwaukee. It was basically hand-drawn, just like the Assembly District currently sat in by Robin Vining for Vining. She was always handpicked to be running for this district. They gerrymandered it specifically for her. She announced in the summer that she is going to challenge Hutton. Hutton, I believe, sees the writing on the wall. He could have defeated Vining, just not in this gerrymandered district. Excuse me, now we have fair districts. We have fair maps that were redrawn. This is seen as pivotal to Democrat chances at winning the control of the state Senate for the first time in a long time. Of course, they needed to completely redraw the maps. The Wisconsin Supreme Court needed to put its fat thumb on the scale in order to give Democrats this opportunity. And now they have got to be rejoicing because Hutton's power of the incumbency was probably the only thing saving this district. You don't want to write it off too quickly. And again, if there is any political party that can be so radical, so off-putting, and just so toxic to normies, it is the Democrats. So do not doubt their ability to completely screw things up in between now and November. But for a new candidate to come in and to challenge Vining, who's been raking in money ever since the summer, that's going to be difficult. And also, Rob Hutton is just a genuinely good guy. He is a good state senator. He was a great state assemblyman before that. He's just a decent human being and a great friend of the Dan O'Donnell show. We do wish him well and hope he stays close to the Republican Party and conservative movement because his voice is badly needed, but he is stepping aside. That first reported by J.R. Ross of WisPolitics.com about 15-20 minutes ago. Apparently Hutton did put out a statement, which is probably sitting in my inbox right now, buried between 10,000 spam emails. Stay warm, everybody. The rest of the world may be off. We are not. Dan O'Donnell Show returns tomorrow afternoon.